Okay, there we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Feast of Dice channel. We are back to streaming Castle Run after our 1 week break. I am your DM, Elijah Goodall, pronouns they, them, and we're just going to get right into it with a little recap and then start the session. When we left the party last, Fauna had recently transformed after being exposed for the first time in her life to the environment or the energy south, like on the other side of the southern ley line in Namira, a place where you have never traveled before, which resulted in quite the transformation for Fauna, becoming far more bestial, your horns erupting further out of your head, claws and teeth sprouting from your mouth, and with new, elongated, powerful limbs on all fours, you departed Novalor, leaving the party behind on the other side of the door. The party spent the last session trying to track you down along the border of Solasa in the South Green. And we ended the session last time with the party tracking an ancient colossi that had emerged for the first time in thousands of years down in Solala. The colossi known as the Yasin Oth, an enormous earth serpent. And in the last moment, taking the lead, trying to get to the front of this colossal serpent. I mean, truly, like well over a mile long. Perrin found himself on the precipice of a cliff, tumbling over the other side into the tumbling into the mouth of the Asenoth on a failed dexterity save. And again, I mean, when I say mouth, we're like this thing, when it comes to the surface and rises, it is the size of a mountain. But, Fauna, we are picking up with you. When the door opened and your transformation occurred, Fauna, it hit you like nothing you'd ever experienced before. As you take your first steps, or I mean, really like at a dead sprint, and you feel the grass of Solasa beneath your feet, you are running. And for a little while, that's all you do is run. Almost by instinct, you're following trails that you've never followed before, but you know other animals have. You can feel their scent, and you know that these are the safe trails. You're less likely to come into contact with something that could mean you harm. And so, for the first few hours beneath the moonlight, you follow these paths deep into the hills before finally you start to, your animal instincts begin to, the adrenaline of them begins to fade away, and you realize you need sleep. Upon waking just before the sun, as the sky starts to lighten a bit, you continue to move, and you move fast. At this point, every scent that occurs, every smell is a warning. The electricity of it travels down you. You know which way to go to find a patch of grass that can be hidden in until a threat goes by. You know where to go to find bits of carrion and small animals to fuel your escape into the foothills. I think at a certain point, those animal instincts begin to abate just a tiny bit. You get the edge of yourself back. There's still all this sensory input that is you're completely unfamiliar with. But there's a smell in the air. And as you round a large boulder in the path, you see a tall, green-skinned, some sort of figure holding what looks to be a large stick. Maybe you see other animals nearby, large, great, like you're not really focused on them, because when this happens and you see this, you lock eyes with them and you freeze. And in this moment, I need you to give me an insight check at disadvantage.
Well, I don't think I need to roll again because that was a nat one. So
On a nat 1,
can't get worse than.
this figure is frozen looking at you. You see a movement of their staff that you immediately, your animal instinct interprets as a threat. And without even putting a thought into it, you just lash out, and I need you to give me an attack roll.
Attack roll in what way?
You're going to add your dexterity modifier and your proficiency bonus. So your proficiency bonus right now
Okay.
is 4. And then I don't remember what your dexterity mod is, maybe 2? I can't remember.
Well, my total on my sheet is 3 for dexterity.
Okay. So
I
you're
think
adding
you probably-
you're adding 7 to this roll.
Did you not already add my bonuses in though on the sheet? Because I feel like
For the attack roll, well, it's just a flat attack roll. So the particular attack that's happening isn't even on your character sheet, because you are using your like natural like tooth and claw right now.
right. I just mean like in my numbers that you wrote for me, didn't
Mm-hmm.
you already add my bonuses in, like the things that I got a bonus on, so that the number on here already includes
The
a
3
bonus,
wouldn't.
or
So the
no?
3 is your dexterity mod, and then you get your proficiency modifier too. So you're adding 7 to the roll.
Okay, so that's only for the skills that you did that
Yeah.
with the extra added. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay.
19.
Okay. On a 19, I need you to roll me 2d8 and then add 3 to it.
Well,
Fauna, on a 12, again, that animal instinct threat. The hair on the back of your neck stands up, and you lash out. It's almost like right now you're looking from behind your own eyes at your actions, because everything for you, Fauna, feels fuzzy, feels unfamiliar, and all you feel is the threat. But it's almost like you're watching someone else's body. As you rear up so that you're almost kind of like standing but still knees bent. You see a large, powerful arm with this dark green, it almost seems like matted fur. Can't be your arm, but at the same time you feel yourself moving as you strike first 1 and then 2. You see the figure takes the blow, and as they go to cry out the second hit, you hear a snap in the neck. No cry comes out as they fall to the ground. The animals behind them, large axolotl type creatures almost, but here on dry land, begin to scatter in every direction, and you flee, leaving that iron scent of blood behind you, except for the little bit that you can't get off of your claws as you feel that mingle with the ground beneath your feet. And you continue to flee into the hills. The sun gets to a zenith and then begins to set in the distance. And as it begins to set and the light of dusk begins to come into this place, something abates. You begin to feel a little more in control of your body. And with that comes a sound, some far off call. It's almost like a distant horn. And you rise up on two legs again, and you find yourself walking. You're walking down a path. You look down, your body is yours again. Your horns, their normal size. Your teeth no longer sharp. Claws no longer jut out of your fingertips. The smell of the blood is gone. The landscape that you find yourself walking in is different. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
$27.
On a 27, go ahead and give me a nature check too, and do so with advantage.
Um, 23.
You look around. Tall trees, not like the Evewood. The trunks extend for 20, 30 feet before the first branches even start, and then like small circular discs, these green branches fan out, tapers back to the trunk, and it continues. So not like evergreens at all, but not quite alien, but very unfamiliar, strange flora. The grass seems to almost, without a breeze to move it, almost gathers and cradles your feet as you take your steps, brushing against your ankle, rubbing over the top of the foot, and then almost offers each footstep up to the next. Strange colors, pinks, blues, where you wouldn't expect them. Enormous fans of purple lichen expand around trees. And you realize on those checks, Fauna, it's the Feywild. You've never seen it before. You've heard some of the plants described and some of the, but even Nerelith herself never took a lot of time to explain to you, like, you don't know if she'd ever been there or not. But there's something deep in you now that knows. You walk the wild path, the way between the Fey wilds and the mortal realm. As you walk this path, having left your more bestial form behind, you hear the sound of footsteps coming up behind you. As you turn, you see a woman with two black antlers that fan out far more than your horns. Green skin, long dark hair, a regal face, looks like a warrior almost. Her shoulders are broad and strong. She wears a simple kind of dusky purple cloak that flows off over one shoulder. And she smiles at you as she walks next to you on the path. Give me an insight check. You've never seen this woman before. There's something at once familiar about her and also alarming. Being this close to her, the energy of that is at once, it's almost comforting. But there is something wild about her, and you feel that spark in your blood. I did not expect to see you here.
You know who I am?
I do. Do you know who I am?
No, I don't think so.
Nothing familiar.
I mean, there is something, but I can't put my finger on it.
How about a claw? And you see she holds up a hand, regular until it comes close to meet with yours if you're matching her. And you see a single black claw extend from a finger that mirrors what happens to yours as your hand draws close.
So we are the same?
We are similar. But my way has been far different than the path you've taken. Tell me, do you know where you're headed?
No, I don't even know how I got here.
Well, really, you're not here. It's just that now, and you see, if your hand is still there, she'll put every finger up and almost go to like She doesn't go all the way in between your fingers to hold your hand, but they interlock just a little bit, and you see every finger now has a claw. The form that you are now is one that was easier to call to myself. It's been so very long since I've seen you. And and you see tears begin to fall down her face. Often I've been able to speak to your sister.
You know my sister? Is she okay?
She's different than you, Fauna. She embraced those things about her which you have been protected from.
What, you mean the gestures at horns?
Yes. Yes.
But I've always thought it was a bad thing that happened to us, and especially to her, and something to be protected from. Why would she lean into it?
Oh, my dear Fauna. All gifts can be blessings or curses. It only depends how you embrace them. Every child eventually has the chance to choose if they will be like their parents or not.
I don't know my parents. How can I choose to be like them? I don't know anything about them.
What would you like to know?
Who are they? Would be a good start. Everything.
I wish I had time to give you my history. But we don't have time now.
What do you mean, your history? Do you know them?
Fauna, if you allow the woman, she leans in to kiss your forehead. And you know in that moment, because only one other time have you felt the magic and the intention of a kiss like this before. And it was the first time your mother kissed you on your forehead when you were born.
I remember that.
I think in this moment, the feeling.
Okay.
You feel the feeling, and you know. As she pulls back to look at you. I don't know when we'll be able to speak again.
Wait, I have so much to ask you. You can't leave now.
Bonnie, you feel the earth beneath you begin to shake, and almost like in a dream where you feel something violently, you feel that animal sense again trying to wake you up, trying to run, and you fight to stay here. Your mother still holding your hand. One question. It's all we have time for.
Why did you leave me?
I did not. He took you. Fauna,
Who?
the hand is pulled away. All around you, you see the trees begin to collapse as far in the distance. What looks to almost be a mountain begins to rise up out of the earth. And you feel yourself falling, pulled back into the animal body. You see like your claws flailing in front of you, the long horns curled over as you fall into darkness. Go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw.
Seven.
Okay. On a 7, you are going to take 4d6 points of falling damage. Hold on, I'm going to roll that real quick. Okay, you're going to take 16 points of falling damage as you just go plummeting into this abyss. As you plummet, your shoulder strikes something hard, and then you begin to roll down a steep incline. Fauna, you can feel, though, even as this is happening, you feel your body changing back to its familiar form. Your fingernails, again, no longer claws. Your teeth, your horns, back to their natural size and shape. As you hit hard on the ground in the darkness. And we are going to cut away from you to the rest of the group soon to join you. Perrin. You are falling. Give me...
Freeze frame. You're
Freeze
probably
frame.
wondering how I got here. A long story.
In
Yep,
this freeze
That's
frame...
me.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a... This is a survival check. I mean, you could make an argument too that it's a perception check as well, but I'm gonna say survival.
Over 20. I'll get you an exact number in a second. I have to open my character sheet.
Over 20. It's good enough. You've been tracking Fauna the whole time, pretty successfully. As you fall into the maw of the Yasinoth Tower, this enormous ancient colossi, some kind of elemental serpent. You look, it is like in a large, just darkness. It is like this thing's mouth is as if a caldera was blown into the top of a mountain. On that survival check, though, you realize you were following Fauna's path. This thing came to the surface after, who knows how many hundreds or thousands of years, specifically because it felt a strong fey presence, something changing the landscape, which is not something that has happened in Solasah for, I mean, you assume maybe since the last time this thing woke up. As you plummet into this thing, you know exactly where Fauna is.
Right. So Perrin's gonna glance back and try to see. I mean, at this point, it doesn't feel like I slipped off an edge. It feels like I'm surrounded by this. So he's gonna look back and see if like the ground is crumbling under the rest of the party, because he wasn't that far away from them.
They're almost, so I will tell the rest of you, you are all like kind of, you see Perrin falling, sort of looking back up at you. We're now out of the like freeze frame and in sort of a slow motion of like Perrin falling. But is probably a good like 40 or 50. You can see that like, while it is, you know, this massive chasm, it's not like he's falling into a bottomless hole where like when he lands, who the fuck knows what's going to happen. You can see there's a pretty steep incline. So he's about to sort of just like graze the side and then start tumbling. If all of you wanted to, you could, at the angle that you're at, pretty much like hop the lip and slide down this thing to follow Perrin, but he is falling and falling
in the
fast.
Last moment you hear, "She's down here." And Perrin's gonna try to use Ornament of Rights to latch on to any like branches or whatever, just to try to slow himself down and get his feet under him.
Cool. Make me I think an acrobatics check.
Nyx is already vaulting over the edge to follow.
Cool.
Slide down.
14.
Okay, 14. Yeah, you're able to, I think without taking, you don't take any damage on this. You're able to like slow your and just kind of, it's now this like controlled slide or tumble down the steep side of this thing.
Stone on the inside as well? What's the texture?
It's honestly a lot like the texture of the ground that you've been walking on. So there is stone, but there is also like soil and plant and fungi, and like it's a lot like the landscape.
I just want to clarify, you wouldn't call this a forest, though.
I would not call it a forest.
Heard.
Everyone else who is headed down here, go ahead and make me either an athletics check or an acrobatics check.
I want to look so cool doing this, like diving and flipping.
Well, let's see what the dice have to say.
The dice say
19.
27.
Oh my god. Okay, so the dice say well done. Yeah, Vox, what does this look like?
Oh, Vox like dives head first, does a flip, and then as she's sliding down, takes out 2 of the daggers to kind of plant herself into the side.
Awesome. You do that, Nyx. That's high. You're able to get down, no problem. I'm going to make checks for Cletus. Here's what you say, Perrin, and is jumping like right in. It's a 14 on athletics. He's fine. Bert is going to take one moment to look over at you, Atticus. Well, are we doing it?
Is Bert still on Atticus's shoulders?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he just looks down at you.
Grab onto my collar, buddy. Let's go.
Okay, here we go.
Atticus is gonna leap. I rolled a 19.
Oh, you no problem. What does this look like as you use just your muscles to get down here?
Atticus is like we're inside the mouth, right, of this thing. I just grabbed like grass and it's just like peeling down as he's like sliding down this thing.
It's like, yeah. One long wallpaper strip.
I feel like Perrin has had 200 feet of rope since he looted that one shop. So I feel like he's like wedged himself in place, and he's created a loop, and he's like getting ready to toss it, and then like Vox goes flying by and does the super cool thing. He's like, all right, fine. And then Cletus goes barely past him. He's like, okay, cool, whatever. And then he keeps trying to offer it to everyone. He's like, well, fuck me. All right, fine. I guess we're all just
Yeah.
Okay,
Actually,
then.
Atticus is running like a silverback. like just hands down, just.
Bert has fully got his cowboy hat off and is like sitting on your back now. As you just head down the head into the mouth of the Yasen Oth. You all make your way to the incline starts to pull up a bit, so the grade isn't as steep, and eventually it gets to the point to where it just kind of like, it's, you don't have to slide down it. You can kind of start like everyone sort of like ends their run or their slide or whatever it is they're doing, and you are kind of like almost that you this thing isn't moving currently, but you've kind of reached what you think the bottom would be, like the entryway or like the back of its throat basically in its mouth. It's very dark down here, high in the distance above, even with that massive opening. Like it's kind of small at this point. I mean, you've been going down for almost 5 minutes, descending into this thing. So the sky is high above you in the distance, just in this like hole above you. And down here, the landscape it's a little more barren than what you were walking on, just because it's further down away from the light. There's less vegetation, more rock and just soil at this point. But you are all down here. Everyone go ahead and give me a perception check.
Six.
14.
Okay.
24.
12.
Okay. Atticus on a 6, you're like, you're just kind of like brushing yourself off from the Bert gets down from your shoulders.
My head's down. I was running on all fours.
Yeah. 12 and 14, Nix and Vox, you're looking around. It's dark down here. Kind of, you get everything that I described. You can tell that, like, again, it is a truly massive cavern that you're in now, because you are in the body of this thing. But the ceiling, or the other, like the above part of the body that now is like a cavern above you, hundreds of feet in the air. It's hard to see in the dark. It almost seems like it's high enough that there could be like a type of atmosphere up there. If you've ever gone into a truly massive cave, that almost like there seems to be like cloud mist that gathers at the top. And down on the 24, far in the distance, opposite from the way that you can see the tunnel, or the body moves off this way. And in the distance, you do see a incredibly faint, it's hard as your eyes adjust to the dim light down here, but you see an incredibly faint glow of almost pink in the distance.
Do you guys see that past the darkness?
No. What are we looking at?
Well, I don't know. There's like light over there. It's weird that there's like comfortable air, and I don't know. Perrin's gonna pull out a little piece of chalk that he's had in his pocket, and he's gonna point an up arrow towards the open mouth. That's how we know how we get back out.
Nix is staring up at the atmosphere and just sheer expanse
Lovely.
of this cavern / body that we are inside of.
Welcome to the South Green, everybody.
How the fuck are we supposed to kill this thing?
Is it your first time being swallowed? Seems to be a common thing that happens in this group.
Kind of a personal question.
I mean, I've been swallowed before.
You know what?
And Atticus,
Perrin fist bumps him.
Atticus, what was it like?
it felt so good, bud. Maybe
Oh,
one day.
man. Well, I mean, I'll tell you, I had a lot of fun on the ride down here, I guess. If it's anything like that, well, sign me up.
It's not like that.
Okay.
You'll never want to do anything else once you've experienced. Anyways, Atticus is gonna. Perrin probably should lead the way. Fauna's in here, right?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, as soon as I got around the edge, it was like she was almost like being blocked, but like I just feel it. You get that thing in your like heart where you just know something, and you're like, sure.
Yeah, but that's I know that feeling. I
Going
knew
off
it known along a lot of different ways.
Okay.
gut instinct
Yeah.
straight into the gut. Okay. Yeah, lead the way, I guess.
It's weird there's no like teeth or like anything, you know?
I'm really trying not to think about the fact that we are actively inside a giant worm that is probably going to kill or eat another hill soon. Are we going to get buried alive?
Yeah, Cletus.
That's a good question.
There has to be some hill giant lore about this, right? Like there has to be some stories about this creature. Do you know anything?
Do you have any convenient exposition?
An ancient text
Oh,
once
wouldn't
about
that be
this
nice?
like
I mean,
guy who got swallowed by a giant fish, lived in it
Atticus,
for a couple days.
yeah, yeah. I wish we did. I mean, yeah, I guess not a lot of Atticus. You know as well as I do. Yes, and off ain't been seen or heard from in thousands of years. I mean, the serpent we supposed to be a child of this thing. Honestly, we kind of thought that, you know, the thing itself was a myth. This being a thing, I don't know. Best we can do, I guess, is keep moving through, see if we can find fauna.
Well, like
Right,
off in the distance, there's a little bit of light, so let's maybe go that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Light inside a worm sounds strange. It's a good plan.
I mean,
I didn't say it was
fauna-
a good plan. If it turns out
I
to be a
mean-
bad plan, please don't blame me. I'm just saying maybe.
Listen, I'm not being sarcastic. We already jumped into the mouth of this thing. We're way past good plans.
As
Also,
this is
like,
happening,
strange is
above you, the light, not so much the ground, but above you, the walls of this group begin to rumble as you see the light is going out, and you feel movement now. It's a tremor. Doesn't knock all of you off your feet, but you can tell that this thing is moving again. And the only light now all of you can sit with the like light from far above, from the world being blocked out. Now that faint pink glow in the distance is visible to all of you.
Anyone
all
just
right. We should double time it.
shouting for her, maybe?
I mean,
Yo, fauna!
Um,
And Atticus is gonna run towards the.
yeah.
Karen starts lighting some torches and distributing them.
Distributing them. Bert
I
takes
guess wait,
one
maybe
and is gonna
hold
kind of
this?
yeah. Bert takes one and starts. Everyone kind of like as you fan out. The torches are all, there's no spaces in here where it would be so dark that you couldn't see the torches if you're fanning out to look for
Nyx
fauna.
is going to hold a firebolt like ready in their hand as their torch and also a ready to action.
Cool. Everyone go ahead and give me survival checks. Or perception checks work too.
Atticus is running. He's like, "There's no time to be smart. We gotta save your daughter. You're my best friend." And it is running off.
Thank you, and also suck it, Bert. But also, thanks for your help.
Yeah, that was a 7.
I
Dirty
got a
20 on
19
survival,
survival.
Ooh. Okay.
17.
I only have a +1 to survival, so I rolled a 19.
Okay.
Just the sheer determination of Atticus.
Bert also got, I think, just naturally, like on all those, because Bert also got a 19. Cletus is going off in his kind of his own direction. Bert, what was, Perrin, was yours higher?
17.
Okay. On the 19s, Atticus, Vox, you both kind of start to head in the same general direction as you're just sort of making your way over. Bert is pretty, you sort of hit a point to where the three of you are all just kind of walking together, further towards the light, but a little more over to the right than everyone else. And Bert kind of like just quietly begins to sing to himself his familiar little tune. You can hear him under his breath. Country road. In the space, though, it begins to echo out. Fauna, you are lying there in the darkness. As you come to, you see in one direction like a faint pink glow. And then in the other direction, you see, still a ways away, but you see torches flaring up. And you hear a couple cries of fun, and underneath all that, in his, what some might unfairly say shrill little frog voice, you hear Bert, as it just kind of like reverberates in the space. Country road, take this toad to the place where he belongs. Salsa, Mountain Papa, take us home. Country. Fauna. Hey y'all. Hey, I think I found her. She's over here.
How feral am I? Am I still feral, or am I back to
You're
not
pretty much
feral?
you're back to normal.
Okay.
You feel a little different inside, but you are back to normal.
Bert, is that what happened?
Oh man, Fauna was crazy. It was crazy. We were all in the house, and that bad thing, he was knocking on the door, and Cletus, he turned into a grasshopper, and then he blew up, and then he came back out of the ashes, and he went over there and he opened the door.
I remember that part.
Oh yeah. No, you was there for all that. Yeah, and then the door opened, and Fauna, I tell you, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. You turned into some kind of a, well, it was wild. I mean, I thought it was crazy when I turned into a person, but this was crazier than that for sure. And you got on all fours, and you RNNOTOFF.
Bert, are you getting better at spelling?
Run off. Yeah, no, well, I think maybe I'm yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard sometimes when I can't see the letters. You can hear them at this point.
Perrin
Well, I
walks over quickly.
Yeah, Perrin, you make your way over. In the dim torchlight. I guess it's not dim. It's torchlight. Sometimes it's hard when you're setting the mood in D&D for a scene, and then you realize you've used a word that means a specific mechanic thing that is different from what it would actually be, and you're like, fuck, it's fine, it's great, it's torchlight, it's beautiful.
Perrin turns the knob down on his torch to dim.
Awesome, perfect, lovely. Perrin, as Fauna comes into sight, go ahead and give me an insight check.
$22.
Okay. The DC for this was 20. Everyone else, this will be very quick. I just need everyone but Perrin to remove their headphones. Perrin. Fauna comes into view, not in the form that you saw her in when she fled Novalor into the South Green through the door. But there was something about seeing her in that moment. Something familiar, like you saw what, and you can still remember the transformation that happened to Flora all those years ago in the Evewood when you opened the portal in the tree into the Feywilds, and something, well, when the Wallachia reached back. On your insight check, Fauna's back in her form. Maybe the horns are a little longer than they were before the transformation. Maybe the fingernails a little sharper, a little longer. But there's a smell. An unmistakable smell. And as you look at Fauna, you realize something. I think, Perrin, you had always just assumed that when the Wallachia reached out through the portal and the curse came to Flora and Fauna, that it was just that. It was a curse. Something putting itself where it shouldn't be. And you realize in this moment, looking at Fauna, it wasn't a curse. It was just waking her up. Because if you know anything, you, Perrin, know what it was like to hunt the Wallachia, what it was like to know its movements, its disposition, its nature. And Fauna is its child.
Yes, chef.
Okay, everyone go ahead and put your headphones back on.
Perrin kneels down and just gives Fauna a hug, just wraps her up.
Yeah, good to see you too, but where are we?
Yeah, that's
we were eaten alive.
What?
Yeah, we're in some giant mountain-eating worm.
I
What?
think it's like a god to people. I don't know. But you weren't here, so we came after you. Also, I shaved my mustache.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You might not be able to see it because it's really dim in here, but there's no mustache.
Fauna leans really close to Atticus's face to see his lack of mustache. Yeah, you look different.
Are you okay?
I don't really know. I think so. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to run off like that. I don't really know what came over me. I'm really sorry that now we're in a worm. It's my fault.
You weren't yourself. The important thing is we found you.
I think it's more Perrin's fault that we're in the worm anyways. I mean, he tripped and fell basically into it.
Well, yeah, but that was like a successful... I found her. That was the whole point of what we were doing.
Yeah, I mean,
How do you know it was on accident?
Yeah, it's, I mean, accident, not accident. We need to get out of this thing, and I only see like 3 options. Do you want to hear them?
List them.
All right, 1, we go back the way we came. 2, we find this thing's asshole and crawl our way out. Or 3, we cut our way out and kill this thing. I like option 3. I think it would be kind of cool and
like
would just
option
make us
3.
all seem more badass.
You're talking about
things...
just cutting through boulders.
Yeah, you've never smashed boulders? Come on. We used to smash boulders for fun at Phoenix Manor. That was just like, oh,
I remember.
wait, no.
I pretty fondly remember boulder smashing. Yeah.
I
good
think
time.
now that I think about it, Cletus, we were just working for free and thought it was fun.
Oh shit!
Or we could like
Wait.
find this.
And they got
and-
us.
Smashing boulders mean like fucking stone giants or what?
I mean, it does in certain places, but no, we were just literally smashing boulders.
There.
Okay,
I
just
mean,
wanted to clear.
the intelligence of a stone giant. I'm not even sure it can give consent. I really don't. I don't.
I feel like we've gotten off track.
Yeah,
Where are we
I mean,
at on the escape
we've stumbled
plan?
on the mating before, and we were like laughing at them, and then they were like,
Fourth option.
blah, blah, blah.
What's that light? This we could look at that.
You're right.
Just
I kind
an
of
idea.
assumed fauna was the source of it, but like, yeah. Oh, whatever we do, we should hurry because I'm not gonna lie. If it swallowed us, I'm worried it's gonna swallow another hill, and we're gonna get caught in the rubble of whatever this thing's digestive system is.
Well, let's
Alright,
go
yeah,
look at
Let's
that.
do that.
Light first, okay. Let's see if somebody else needs rescuing.
Well, I mean, that's the asshole
Yeah.
plan, and if we're gonna cut our way
Yeah,
out, we
option-
can cut our way out of anywhere, right? So we might as well do it
I mean,
next to the asshole.
They say an asshole is like the same material as like your lips, so maybe it'd be easier to. I don't know. Just saying.
Can we please stop
Who
saying
says that?
asshole? I'm actively trying not to remember what we're in.
Do worms have lips?
Just keep walking.
Cletus, are
Um,
you okay?
He's fine.
As Cletus comes over to you, Fauna, and gets down, like, just kind of gets down immediately on one knee, so he's like right there at eye level with you. Fauna, I'm so sorry. I failed you. My very first time something happened, and I failed you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we're a little more
It's
clear, it's really
okay,
Cletus's fault that we're here. Like, in terms of
Right.
sequence of events.
It's both of our faults. I think we should just forget about what happened and just focus on the future.
Okay. Yeah.
You're cool now though, right? Like, what? Are you
I
all
mean,
good or?
I mean, I'm as good as I'm gonna be, I guess. I think. I mean, I think I'm cursed, so there is that.
Like I said, I
And
pretty much summed
it's
it
not
up.
it's not Cletus's fault. It's Okrin's fault for all of this.
All right, fine, we'll go
Akron?
kill him.
Yeah, you know, the
Yeah.
big bird thing knocking on the door.
Oh,
That's
yeah, I
the-
vaguely remember shoving that to the side as I ran.
Yeah, you tumbled him head over here. It was only an aspect of him, so, you know, not the real thing. But yeah, you knocked him, yeah.
Yeah,
over-
we'll
head over
once
heels.
we get out of here, I think we need a little war trap meeting about so I can give you all the full details of what's going on. But first things first.
Agreed. We have so many things we need to tackle, but first we need to get out of here.
But that's how we get out.
You know,
Aaron's trying really
if
hard to have
the-
like a positive attitude.
if the
It's really
asshole's
weird
a
for everybody
sphincter
else.
and the lips are the same thing, doesn't that make them both sphincters?
Yeah, you're nailing this, Bert.
When we get back, to
Well, I mean,
Phoenix
I don't
Manor,
have
think,
lips, I
I
guess,
think you've
so-
graduated from the spelling books to more biology, anatomy books, bud.
Yeah, okay, that's great. I mean, by my count, I got one sphincter. Atticus, how many sphincters you got?
Just the one, bud. Just the one.
Well, I thought we said that the lips was the same, though, so that makes two. And Atticus, do people not have holes down, you know?
No,
Are you are you smooth, corked up down there?
No, it's not like that. I have.
There's
all have
ridges
assholes, if you really need to know.
and thorns.
But
Thorns?
it's just similar. It's not the same thing.
People
Okay,
have two
okay,
assholes,
ridges and
one for when they're shitting and one for when they're talking shit.
And we,
I
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I'm
Yeah,
gonna put that down in my notes. Okay.
Bert's just writing notes while we're in a worm.
Bert's just writing by torchlight on anatomy while you're in a worm.
It's just Kurt Vonnegut pictures of
As-
assholes.
At a certain point, as we
Atticus
get
gives
closer to this,
the Bert and bees talk. He gives the birds and the bees talk to Bert very loudly and very awkwardly so everyone can hear.
Now?
Bert and the bees? The Bert and the bees talk?
You like that? You like that?
Nix, what's that?
I was just gonna say, at a certain point, as we get closer to this pink light, and everyone's talking, Nyx is gonna branch off into the darkness and kind of do their usual like stealth around and
Okay.
hold perimeter.
Okay, cool. You can make me a stealth check if you want.
Is that an animal noise?
We are in dim light, so advantage.
That's what boulders sound like when they rub against each
Both
other.
of them suck.
Do we get our armor gives us advantage at night on stealth, right? Is it night
That's true.
outside the worm?
It is not
Wait, it
night
does?
outside the worm. Yes.
Yeah. I listen. I took
I
notes.
listen. And then I get to add D4. 22.
Okay, cool. You are all making your way towards this pink light. As the light begins to grow brighter, it's kind of around this curve. You can see it's less the distance that you're walking and almost more that the slow curve of this colossus is beginning to move itself. So it's almost like as you're walking to, the light is coming to you around the corner. You begin to hear sounds far in the distance. Not birds or even wolves, or it is almost these wild like yips and very unfamiliar fauna. And as this light comes into view for the first time, all of you are going to see revealed as this massive landscape almost kind of slides into view in front of you. There are like these just truly colossal pink and salmon pillars that are bioluminescent down here, so you can see that is where the pink light is coming from. It's almost like these giant columns of fungi that bridge between the top and the bottom of the creature, almost like the filament in lungs. You see blues and purples, like these almost bronchial patterns spread out on the walls, far to either side. And you see terrain. You see the green that almost looks like grass, except it's a little too bright. You see long, shimmering pools of bright blue liquid. Looks to be shallow, maybe not more than a foot. But it's like you're looking out at some strange alien meadow right now. Except that the more you look at it, the more that you realize there is a there's an architecture to this thing, to the place, that these columns tend to line up in some places almost so that they are massive doors or gateways. You can see that lead to other sections. And at this point, almost like the, God, what is that? The not a lotus blossom, but the little when you cut it, like you see
a bloomin' onion.
Tunnels. Yeah, yeah, just like a bloomin' onion opening up. You see tunnels leading in different directions. And you realize as you're looking at it, you see not just small, maybe straight, it's almost like a cross, they're like strange birds, but with limbs as well. Very small, but they flit from like this outcropping to the next outcropping, and then they'll disappear into a space in the wall. But more than just the creatures, you see first several, and then more and more figures in the distance. Tall, white humanoids, maybe 6.5 feet, fairly tall. Not as tall as Atticus and Cletus, but taller than most of you. Very thin and gaunt almost. Their rib cages extend far out. And as you begin to draw closer, none of them are really paying you a lot of attention. They all seem to kind of be going about their tasks, traveling. Like groups of them go down separate tunnels and coming and going. But you see all of them have these bright eyes, but no nose or mouth, and kind of these elongated heads as they are all traveling around. And I mean, you're realizing it's a city. It's massive. And it is full of these people.
Atticus waves at them.
You go to wave at them. You see several catch your eye and stop, turn, slow waves back, and then continue about their business.
Atticus, that might be a rude gesture here. You have to be more careful. Perrin flips them off. It's in case.
Atticus notices the no mouth and is gonna try sign language with them and say like, "Hi, like my name is Atticus." See if they recognize it in any way, shape, or form.
Give me. What would this be? Maybe a.
A weird sleight of hand.
Performance?
I think, yeah, performance is what I'm going to call it. Or actually, I think because you're specifically trying sign language too, and it's communication to them, I think just it's going to be a general intelligence check. So just add your intelligence modifier to a d20.
$16.
Okay. On a 16, I'm actually going to pull, I have a little thing that I'm going to pull up for the overlay so that we get an image of these things. Atticus, on a 16, you're near one, and you begin to attempt to sign to it in order to communicate. You can see a lot of, like, there's probably a few dozen in this space now in the clearing that you've all come out into. The one that you catch their eyes and they stop to look at you, and they come close and lean in. They look at your hand and they look back at your face, and you see their eyes light up a little bit. They reach down and they grab what looks like just almost a little cluster of pink fungi, maybe like the same stuff that the columns are made of, but it's like fresh and new and small instead of these massive supporting columns. And it picks it up almost like strands as it pulls off, kind of like mycelium. And it looks at you. It makes a motion as if it's going to like put this in its mouth, and then it offers it to you.
Atticus is going to take and look back at the group and like, either something really cool is going to happen, or I think something's cool really going to happen.
Right, because when strangers give you food, it's always good. First thing you do is you put it in your mouth to see if it's safe.
And specifically when you're not even sure that it's food, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So either, well, you might have to babysit, and then Atticus is going to pop it in his mouth.
You put it in your mouth. Give me a Constitution save.
14 plus 6.
Whew, okay.
20. 320.
Great. You chew it. It's not unpleasant. It's a little, for the, as thin as the strands were, you didn't expect it to be this chewy, but it kind of, breaks up pretty quickly. Not a lot of flavor to it. Honestly, less than being like the earthiness of a mushroom, it's almost more floral, kind of like chewing on, almost like chewing on the like dried hibiscus. It's a little bit sour. There's like, but as you were chewing this up,
this is really good, guys. You should get some of this.
You begin to feel kind of a buzz at the back of your head, and then you hear a voice. Can you hear me?
Atticus is gonna look back at the group and is like, "Oh fuck, guys. Yeah, I can hear you."
Wonderful. What is your name?
Atticus, and you are?
Atticus. Atticus, we are. And you see the creature gestures to like all the other ones walking around. And almost in the same way, make an insight check for me real quick. It's pretty low DC.
Natural 20.
Boy howdy. Cool. Great.
Heyo.
Atticus. The moment that they say it, they're giving you, like, on top of their voice, there is like an image and a feeling coming with it. You realize that they are referring to everything in here, not just the other humanoids, not just the animals, everything, the plants, the fungi, as they look back to you. We are known as the Forgotten.
Well, nice to meet you. When you refer to we, do you refer to the vessel you're in as well?
Oh god, he's delusional. He's super high. Do you hear him? This doesn't make any sense.
Or is it just you that inhabit the belly of this giant serpent?
We are the Forgotten. We exist here in the Yasanoth. It is our protector and our home.
Protecting you from what exactly?
The surface is no longer habitable for us. So we must make our lives down here.
And why is that? What happened on the surface? Atticus is gonna look back at the group and be like, I totally got this, y'all. Do not worry. His eyes, he has like shark eyes right now.
Bert,
I feel like
if
we
no
should be
one's
a little
Bert,
worried.
Bert is slowly pulling up some and also like tucking it into his little frog mouth.
Bert,
Wait, just to clarify, when Bert eats, does he put it in his mouth or does he hold it and hit it with his tongue?
He's tried to be less and less frog-like as of late. So where he used to do it with his tongue, he now just puts a tiny hand into his massive mouth and then will drop it in there. The Forgotten looks back to you, Atticus. The surface is no longer safe for us because of you and your kind.
Does this have to do with the attacks on the Broken Green?
We do not know the Broken Green, only that long ago we lived above on the surface. It was good. We enjoyed the warmth of the sun and the openness of the sky. But we are not made for violence, for war. Your kind, when they came, we wish to exist in peace. Here we can do so.
I'm sorry to hear that. I know us humans tend to muck up stuff when we get involved. But also, the creature that protects you is causing damage to the land that you love as well.
I think he's talking about the worm.
Atticus is going to turn around too and be like, and to the group and say like, I'm either violently high or we're having a conversation on the state of humanity right now.
Maybe you
y'all
could ask
should
them
eat-
how to get out, how we get, while you're having a humanity conversation, maybe you could ask them how we can leave this worm.
Yeah, totally.
But do we
But I
just
think
cut the
also-
worm and get all of them out and us out?
No.
Also, is there anybody else trapped here? Like the rock giants? The giants? The whoever? Who was it? Hill giants. I don't know, I was real distracted.
Yeah, Atticus is like nodding viciously, like, yeah, okay. Chill, Atticus, chill, you got this. And he's gonna look back at this creature, this humanoid, and say, well, we mean you no harm being here. We were just looking for our friend. Is there anyone else?
Your friend?
That
The small one who came down here several turns ago.
How long have you been here, Fauna?
I mean, I don't really know. How long have I been gone?
He is further into the Protector.
Wait, what? Maury?
There's someone else? Are there other people trapped here or just them?
It is only them. You are the first outsiders that we have seen in many, many ages.
Well, again, we mean you no harm or no danger. We'll just help our friend.
I can take you to him.
Yeah, please, let's go. Yeah.
Follow me. And you see
Wait,
the
go
creature
where, Atticus?
turns around and starts to walk away.
Just
Hey,
follow
we're
me.
supposed to follow. We're supposed to follow him.
Atticus is gonna
We're
like
supposed to just follow.
pick a bunch of mushrooms, like 5 mushrooms, and be like, just eat this. Just eat it right now.
I'm not eating that.
I know they're pretty good, Perrin. You should try them.
Fuck it, and Vox is gonna pop one in her mouth.
Yeah, Nyx's gonna like materialize from shadow and join up with the group as they're moving off.
Oh fuck!
No, I feel like at this point when Nyx materializes out of shadow, Parent's just like handing her a mushroom. Just be like,
Yeah.
there you go.
And we need
Knows
roll
the side she's coming from,
Constitution
even.
saves.
Atticus will be scared every time.
Fauna's still like coming out of whatever weird vibe she was in before, so I don't think she's gonna eat the mushroom yet.
Fair.
Trying to get her shit together.
Why-
Yep.
Why do you want us to eat this? Beyond
Because
it being good?
they have no mouths. I tried to do some sign language with them, some CSL, common sign language, and I think they understood I was trying to communicate, so they gave me a mushroom, and I'm hearing them in the back of my head. It's like an echoey. It's kind of common though. Either that or I'm just stupid high right now, but
Okay.
pretty sure I'm not.
You feeling influence of any kind of like suggestion or mind control? Because I don't want to fuck with that again.
I feel great right now.
Look, we'll leave it. Fauna won't have one, and she can snap us out of it if she needs to. She'll do a little curse thingy.
Mhm.
I mean, okay.
Fair enough. Fauna. Worst comes to worst, hit me really hard in the head.
Or
I rolled-
use the magic.
A
Well,
nat
if that
20 on
doesn't
my
happen-
Constitution.
Yeah. If I'll
Um,
black out, then
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool translating. Sorry, their voice is very common. But yeah, they said there's someone else in here. So we're gonna go check on that, and we're good as long as we don't fuck shit up.
So you're having this conversation following the Forgotten in front of you. You make your way beneath one of these massive pink arches and come into a space that, the further what is like where that mist collects up towards kind of what makes for the sky in here near the ceiling, that disappears and still, probably a good 100 feet above you, but now you're in a separate, almost like a large room. Pink walls everywhere. There are spreads of like yellow and purple and things like that in this almost lichen fungi that spreads across the walls and over the ceiling. But the Forgotten makes their way through more of the... You see they're passing more of these humanoids who don't even really seem to... It's almost like they already knew you were there. None of them seem to regard you with any interest. Simply kind of naturally moving around you and then closing back as you make your way through. But you do come to what looks to almost be like a park, kind of just like a gathering space. You can see there are these forms in the fungi, the pink, that almost make for like these little bowled out chairs, things like that, or benches. You can see there's a lot more of that strange looking flora all around here. And as you enter the space, I think no checks, the thing that would stick out is Tyler, do you want to go ahead and describe for the group who they see sitting on one of these benches?
Yeah, you see a little 2.5 foot tall rock gnome, a little mustache, some glasses. He's got like a weird carved rock mug and he's like pouring from a flagon, and he's got a book open on one knee, scribbling notes.
Your guide looks back to all of you. Your friend is here. Shall I leave you?
Atticus is gonna look back at the group and like mouth like, who the fuck is this guy? And Atticus is gonna look back and be like, I do have one more question for you. Is there a way to commune with Asinov? Any way to talk to your protector?
There are ways of communication. Our protector does what it wishes, and all that it does is good. If there is something you wish us to communicate, though, I can take you to the heart.
Atticus is gonna look at the group and say, I think there's something really important I need to do here. I'm gonna go with this person here, but I will be back. He's gonna look at the gnome and be like, "Hey, Atticus, what's up? How you doing?"
Hello there. I'll get eaten by the giant worm as well.
Voluntarily, yes.
Valen, what now? Why'd you go and do something like that?
Well, because our friend here, and Bert gestures back to Perrin, our friend, well, we were looking for, she fell down here, but we were looking for her, and so then he fell down here, but when he was falling down, he was like, hey, she's down here, and so then, we all followed suit, and now, well, here we are.
So not the brightest bunch, then.
Atticus is gonna look at Bert and say, "Yeah, why don't you stay with them, bud?" And just for clarity's sake, to the group, I think this immortal serpent may have some answers, and for me, and I want to, if they're a protector of these people, I want to pay my respect and also my apologies for the past. Yeah, I'll be back. And then
Are you
Atticus
sure?
Yeah, you're leaving now. We can go with you.
Yeah.
I really don't think we should separate. We only just found Vana.
Also, it's not really the most talkative thing right after it's eaten. It's moving right now.
I'll be okay.
How long have you been here?
It won't take
3 weeks, maybe.
Atticus, is you're heading off. Everyone else, you're here with Yorge. I think right now we'll take the pause before the little party split to do our 10-minute break, if that sounds good to everyone, and then we'll be back. We'll be back in 10.
Okay.
Go. And we are back. We're going to, as Atticus, as you depart to go to the heart with your guide, the rest of you are have left standing here at what appears to be like the equivalent of a park in this strange bacteria cellular space.
So, you said your name was York?
No, my name's Yorge. Who told you that?
Yorge.
Said hello. But yeah, my name is Yorge.
And you've been here 3 weeks.
I don't know. It's hard to keep track. They rub this on their hands, but it makes a great drink.
What? Rub what?
He waves like a milky, cloudy liquid at you.
Is this guy high?
Oh, I definitely want some of that. Hey, friend, my name's Bert. Can I? No, hey, let me.
Yeah, no problem.
Let me.
Wait, Yorge. Why does that name sound familiar?
Fermented fungus. It's not a big deal. Parents like smelling it.
If you were
Vlad
here,
tell us about this guy?
Vladimir. Like Lenore.
Yeah, the kinky vampire, multiple personality type situation going on.
You're right, yeah. I'm not used to him telling people about me. Why would he do that?
he was trying to help us. We ran into some research, and he said that you made off with most of it.
Well, I don't know if I made off with research. That's the thing about research. The more you do, the more there is.
Lent it, loaning it, book library. You have quite a few fees stacked up against your name, by the way.
I don't
Might
even
not
think
want to
the
return to that
library.
place.
Can't even return those.
What do you mean? Return what?
Anyways, the simulacrum. That's right. That's what we were looking for.
What, Sam?
Hey, maybe I can make it a little easy.
What if you figure out what you're asking me for?
My name's Bert, and mostly I think unless
Bertie.
anyone else had any other, I like that. Well, mostly we're asking about me because you see, I got
Because you're a talking frog. That's pretty odd,
Yeah, and I haven't always been a talking frog. Actually, it's kind of a recent development.
Well, that's weirder.
But yeah, well, so in the little bit that we've been able to learn, we found out I'm something. I think I'm an Erebus.
Erebus.
Does that mean
You're an
anything to you?
Erebus.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a little weird, but the big blonde fella who just left, I think I got my soul in me, and then I do think I have the soul of like his son in me too.
You've got his son inside you. You're a talking frog nonetheless. Okay, all right. Where'd you hear the term Erebus?
At Vlad's library, we were doing some research, and Vox and I, and Erebus came up in those books between having two souls inhabiting one body, along with a lot of mention of something called a simulacrum. We ran into one of them. Sam, you said his name a second ago.
Right.
Do you know him?
I know him.
Whatever. Yeah.
Well, it depends on how polite you are, I suppose.
Oh, we're very polite.
What makes you think that you're an Erebus, of all things? I've seen one of those in an age.
It was on account of when I did get a kiss, and I turned from a frog into a little boy, and then when I was a little boy, I started to remember a lot of stuff that I didn't really remember, and it got real confusing. And I mean,
Because you get a kiss. Is that you said the tall fellow is get a kiss?
No, Fauna. Remember when Fauna
No, that's
used a
Atticus.
polymorph spell to turn him back into a kid, or turn him into a person.
That sounds like a polymorph spell.
yeah, no, there was a polymorph spell, but we learned there was more going on with it. Listen, have you ever had it's like a little kid? Have you ever had like maybe a kid
This
like
guy.
maybe about 12 years old, And, sometimes it's your thoughts up here and you got that inner dialogue. And then other times there's this little 12-year-old kid that's just like, let me out. You got to get me out of here.
Put his finger on Bert's mouth. Okay, hold on. Mm-hmm. You're getting somewhere. So you're hearing a voice of a kid inside you. And you said you went through something transformative. Was that in the last 2 or 3 months?
Oh, yeah. It was about a month, maybe almost 2 months ago.
Yeah, did you die by chance?
Well,
stand over there.
Okay.
And Yorge kind of points at a rock. Just hold still. He digs through his bags.
Excuse me.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna look at him.
It's fine. He's a researcher.
Why is it always the little ones that are the most obnoxious?
Well, that's just straight up racism.
Yeah, but hey, but Vox, you forgot that I'm little.
No, Bert, I did not forget that.
Oh.
Yorge pulls this device. It's like a 2-foot tall stick, and it's got like a lens with a lid on it and like crystal seeing stone on one side. And he's gonna point it at Bert and flip the top open. Right here. So what you got going on? All right, well, there's definitely something going on here.
I'm going to tell you what you see as you look at Bert. We talked about your device. This is not something that you have to make a check for. It's just how your device works. You are looking at Bert, and you see almost like this translucent overlap. You see Bert standing in front of you. And then almost as an after image, it's burned into your eyes as you're looking through the nightglass. You see small boy, maybe 12, 13 years old, short blonde hair, a smile. Looks like a young version of the man who just left with the guide. And in that boy's hands, you see they're holding a small green frog.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Was there a wizard? Did somebody curse you?
No, I don't think. I mean, I'm not sure about the curse. Honestly, I don't know. It's really hard to remember. Everything gets pretty fuzzy around the time of, we were in this tower. It's a weird tower, and, every room was different, and...
What do you mean?
Well, every time we went through a door, there'd be something you probably didn't expect on the other side. Sometimes there'd be like a whole meadow, or sometimes there'd be a weird old nasty gray king guy that'd try and gobble you up, and other times it'd just be a regular room,
desert.
With a hearth and a talking sword, and we found a.
The fuck are you talking about?
Well, it's big. I'll be honest, a lot of that's real fuzzy for me. It's almost like I was something, and then I was something else. And I'm going to give you a chance in this moment, Yorge. I'm going to give you a chance to see something. Make me an Arcana check.
Uh, 23.
On a 23. Not a lot changes on a 23. You see the images again. You see that small boy holding the frog. You see them looking at you. I mean, you can tell from this, like, those are the two souls, but there's something, like, it's not just a frog. Like, the soul of an animal would usually be not overwritten, but almost immediately combined. So there's something about this frog that is more than just a little green frog. There's a consciousness and a soul and a will to this frog. And you see a tether between the two of them. It's hard to notice the threads, but it's just like when you tip the glass in a certain way, it's almost like this spider thin filament catches the light in a certain way. It's not just the fact that these two souls are in a body as an Erebus. There's something that bonds these two together outside of that. And you realize when you're looking at them, it has happened. It's almost in a way that if you thought about it, it would be like the frog. You know, Erebuses can happen by accident. They can happen by people but it is almost as if the frog had caught the boy's soul and tethered it to themselves. That's what you get on a 23.
You're just gonna kind of give a small nod, and with his offhand, he's gonna flip to a new page in his notebook. At this point, you've noticed he's writing with right hand and left hand at different times, and he's just gonna take his staff, and as he goes to write with his left hand, he's just gonna kind of pan across the rest of the group almost on accident, but then he holds it back up and goes left and right across the group.
Yorge, we already have, there's already another thing coming up that I know we're going to use headphones. I'm not going to make the headphones thing for this, so everyone is going to get to hear a little bit about themselves that Yorge sees. You pan across quickly and focus in on people. As you look at Fauna, Yorge, you see through the glass, you see a creature of enormous proportion. Dark green, almost black, matted fur, massive limbs, black claws, sharp teeth that jet out of an elongated jaw, several sets of bright yellow eyes on either side of her face, and these massive curling black horns. And it is definitely Fae in origin. As you continue to swing across, you come to Nyx. Similar to the way they are now. But you see like a almost modest in the simplicity of its shape, but you see a crown that almost seems, it's like it's made of moonlight perched on their brow. Definitely like of royal origin. You can make me a history check real quick too.
It's gonna pass. 25.
You are looking at, I think that you have a lot of history of the Nightlands. You do realize you are looking at the lost prime of the Nightlands. the inheritor to like, yeah, the daughter, or rather the child of the Loon Kings. And then you pan to you see Cletus. Cletus not. I think when you look at Cletus, actually, what you do see is the ghostly afterimage almost of two dark wings and just kind of like bird talons wrapped around his shoulders, and the wings enfold him, but translucent in their nature. Like you can see through them to Cletus. When you get to Vox, you see down here everything is cast in like that pink light that emanates, so everything is off of its color. Vox, through your lens, glows with the light of brilliant day. So even in the pink light, it's like they are illuminated fully by something else. And even as you look through it, Yorge, you feel just a little twinge, a little stir in your heart of I think, Yorge, you would feel this. What you would call this feeling is inspiration. A little bit of lift, a little bit of, but what it actually is hope. And strapped to Vox's side, you see a sword that is burning with that same hope, and you see a soul attached to that sword. And both the soul attached to the sword, and then in Vox's soul, you see that Vox belongs to the Court of Hope. Is a direct descendant, not of Mist, as sometimes, like there was a time when the courts of Mist reigned, but before they were the Court of Mists, it was the Court of Hope. And for every one of these individually here, with the exception of Bert and Cletus, you see a direct tie to a court in each of them. For Fauna, it's the Court of Flowers. For Nyx, it's the Court of Night. And for Vox, it's the Court of Hope. And then you look at Perrin. And when you look at Perrin, you see when you're looking at this thing, sometimes there are other sensory things that come, and what you almost hear is like the sound of doors shutting down long hallways, and those echoings reverberate. And you see that Perrin, on top of like whatever this other thing is that he's able to tap into, Perrin belongs to the Court of Tides. And that's what you get looking through your glass as you like quickly scan these four other people.
Well then.
So you had your look at Bert. Want to share with the rest of the class?
Group of strangest motherfuckers I've ever met. Okay, so
yeah, that's
You
fair.
infernal word.
Rude.
well, no, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Just in a notable one. What do you know about an Erebus?
Only what we read, what you hadn't borrowed already.
I mean, what I didn't borrow was the kid things. What did you hear?
just that two souls can sometimes get trapped in one body, and that if there isn't if we don't find a way to separate them within, what are we at now, Vox? A month and a half, something like that,
Yeah,
before it gets
it's got a
dangerous
month.
for Bert and
Apparently,
Atlas.
change one body.
They can get stuck.
Both souls. Yeah.
I got 1 month left before things get real weird for me.
That's if you're lucky, friend.
So we know that, and for whatever reason, a simulacrum was mentioned a lot and along the same lines of an Erebus. I at least had potential theory that, but
Well,
never mind. It doesn't matter.
Together. I mean, you met another one too, Vladimir. To be a vampire is just to be a simulacrum. It's a living soul in a dead body. Same mechanism.
But a dead body?
A vampire, yeah.
I mean, undead.
But I
It's
mean, do
transformed
all
by the living soul.
simulacrums need to be dead bodies? Because I guess Sam did die.
What's the name of your sword there?
You ask so many questions.
Or just repeat ones that were asked, and very much like some answers. If
No, I'm trying to
you have any to
understand what
give.
exactly you know, so I don't have to explain the parts that you already do know. Let's start at the beginning.
I don't know anything, so could you just explain it all?
All right, then. He's flipping through his notebook.
As you're
He reaches
flipping
into his bag and pulls out a different book.
as you pull these out, Yorge, like the glass is still kind of up there, and you catch out of the sight, like now stepping into, which thanks for saying that note, because I did forget. You do see stepping, like invisible to anyone else, but now stepping into the glass, you see an entity clearly fey, very small, even a little smaller than Bert. But as the entity steps into the glass, it just kind of looks like a cute little fat toad with like yellowish brownish skin, and a little top hat. And you see it is just like, it's just licking Brightburn.
Right, I'm not even going to touch that one right now. Okay, so here's about the beginning. Don't worry about it. All right, so when we say the word Erebus, it's really a person's name. You see, a man, Erebus Petrichor, he's the one who invented basically a whole realm of magic. So Solimation, it's the magic of the soul. So we call it the Erebus. He really called it an animus incantum. It's a spell intended to take a soul and put it into something else. So he had kind of a rough go of it. He lost a family member. He was already learning some natural magical abilities, and he tried to put his family member's soul back into the world. And he chose a crow, which is not the best choice looking back on it. So he put the soul inside the crow. What he didn't know is that crows already kind of have itty-bitty souls, but they've got them. What's the problem with the whole Erebus point of things is that the souls don't just coexist. They start to fight each other. And then at the end of it, they transform each other. So he took his family member, saved him from the dead, put him in his body, and he holds up a book, and it's got a picture of a Kinko. And that's, as the myth goes, Erebus created a whole new race of people on accident. That's where we get the Kinko. So he just kept experimenting and experimenting with it. So that's why we call it the spell. It's not really what he called it, but I don't know, he's kind of an odd guy. He took a lot of inspiration from a children's myth of the Fifth King, and so he thought he could do something magical with it. He learned about vampires. He was doing all kinds of different things. Just moving souls around from one to the other, you know. So, when we're talking about an Erebus, typically we're talking about something we do on purpose. But your friend, that's weird that it happened on accident. So it seems like, I don't know, something with your other friend and his son created a pathway or something. Like, a bunch of you have died before. That's really weird, too. Your souls have left your bodies and then come back in.
I mean, yeah, that was the Dreadspire.
I don't. What is
so much
what
to
is
unpack
that?
there?
That was
The
the
important
tower
thing-
that we were in with the desert and the
Can you undo it?
horse and the camels.
He's doing some notes. That's a complicated question. If there's anyone who could say yes, it'd be me. I don't think I should, though. It's a bad thing to do. It's likely to kill everyone involved.
We don't want Bert.
Than them being trapped together? One of them's
Well,
going to die anyways, and
No, both of them would die because they would
Spiritual
transform into
sense.
something
God.
completely different. So they'd both be gone, actually, at that point. It'd be
well,
as if
then-
neither one of their souls ever existed.
then we have nothing to lose in that case. I mean, a whole lot to lose, but nothing to risk that we wouldn't already risk if we did nothing.
That's one way to think of it, yeah. But the whole problem with this kind of magic is that it compounds over time. Complicated. What then? You?
So you can do it.
In a roundabout way, maybe. Why?
Well, how would you do it? I mean, is there like a thing? You know, you got another cool thing like that that'll, you know, like maybe a giant pair of scissors that'll, you know, cut me in two, and or like, well, no, like a, you know, like spectral fancy magic scissors. You got a pair of magic scissors, or maybe we got to go somewhere special, or.
Don't have that, but hold on one second. Gonna draw a quick little diagram and make some notes. So scissors, it's an interesting idea. Well, here's the problem. I'm more of a researcher than a practitioner, so what you're gonna need is a really strong magic user, somebody who's got like innate natural abilities. There's maybe 2 people on the planet who's strong enough to undo this spell all in one go. There's a possibility, and it's a dumb one, but you all jumped into a giant worm on purpose, so I feel like a dumb choice is maybe the right choice.
Oh, we love a good
We
snack
make it work
decision.
for us. I don't know how,
Okay.
but it does.
Well, that's a silly thing to do, but all right.
I just want to clarify, I didn't jump into the worm on purpose.
I mean,
How-
Connor, do you know that? Because you were an animal. We were chasing you.
You were a wet now.
She
I
wasn't.
don't
She
worry
wasn't.
about it.
No, just wasn't herself.
See,
It's
you
having
all
a really wild night.
you'll
Turn
come
into
to
a
me and you
real
ask
animal.
about an Erebus, and you've got one soul split between 2 bodies, and your soul's linked to this fucking necklace you've got, and you've got a soul on your hip, and like you're all a bunch of fucking weirdos. So like that's fine and all, but if you want to do something stupid, there's one potential option, but just don't worry about it, okay? You're gonna stress yourself out. I can see it right now. So
One
here's what we're
soul
gonna do.
Split between 2 bodies?
The complication, but yeah.
Is that one me?
No, you're the one I was looking at when I said that.
All
Don't
right.
take it as a negative thing. Having a whole soul doesn't really mean a lot. There's some very nice people out there who haven't got a soul at all.
Well,
So,
wait, what about that Filth King guy? Has this Filth King got
About
a
him?
soul?
That's a kid's
'Cause
story.
we heard about,
No, we've heard about this.
yeah.
What?
The story about the Filth King.
He's a spooky guy, and he goes inside the eyes of whoever sees death and danger, and he makes kids eat their vegetables. That's the whole point of the story.
Is
What
that
do you
the whole
mean?
story?
Well, I mean, to a deeper degree, if you want to look at it from a scholastic point of view, he's based on a deeper myth from the Nightlands. The Obshuri Elen. It's the darkness in the stars. Just that myth hasn't made it to this continent.
Nix.
So,
What about it?
Yeah,
Bert
is that familiar to me?
Nix.
Can't we just move one of the souls from Bert into another empty vessel being? And
If
then
somebody had done it on purpose, probably, but if this was naturally occurring, it's going to be messier.
how messy?
And Yorge keeps talking while a flashback happens.
Yeah, you keep explaining it. Nix. You hear Obshuri Elen. You are 7 years old. It's about a year or so before you left with your fathers to go to the gathering of the courts in Namira. So this is, as you are taken back into this is one of your earliest memories. You are standing just outside. You're standing just outside the courtroom. And you can hear hushed voices talking, but with some amount of intensity. So you hear the voice of one of your fathers. It's a myth, and I'm not going to stake so much on a myth. You hear a quiet answer, you can't quite make it out, and then you hear your father interrupt. You forget your place. Leave. And do not speak of Obshuri Elen again in my presence. Nyx, you know when your father uses that voice, it's best if you're not seen. You're not supposed to be up right now anyway. Your footsteps growing closer. Do you try and hide?
Nyx is born on a new moon. Hiding comes naturally to them. Before they learned anything, they learned shadow.
Cool. Give me a little stealth check. I'm going to let you add a +3 to it, even as a kid.
22.
On a 22, you sink back into the shadow. The footsteps get closer and pass by as you see your father walk by, headed to the master room. You can breathe easy now. The footsteps are gone. And then just behind you, I see you are getting better at finding the shadow, my prime.
Still not good enough to hide from you, apparently. Now lower your voice, come on.
And as you turn, you do see, I think, one of the few times in your life that you can remember, you see the waning night as they look over your shoulder. A moon-white cloak that somehow takes on the shadow perfectly, so that when it moves into shadow, its color just disappears. Longer, tangled black hair, sharp, intelligent, and perceptive eyes. And she looks down at you. I don't suppose you are listening in.
Trying to.
What did you hear?
You're not going to tell anyone I was up, right? It's training. I mean, I'm just trying to practice.
I think it is good training. You have done well. Well enough, I think, to maybe hear a story, if that is what you are after.
It's going to be a scary one. You always tell the best scary ones.
You can tell me. When the Nightlands were young and the stars were fresh and bright, we did not fear the dark. Wicked things could walk by day, and even a hidden knife can catch the moonlight. But we were foolish then. We thought we had seen all the world could offer. Until it came. From a corner of our kingdom, untouched by even the brightest night. Not from shadow, for shadows are shapes made by light. This was a thing that swallowed stars, older than life, and beyond the reach of gods. Obshuri Elen, crawling into our world through a crack which had never seen light. It came to extinguish. You see it sometimes in the eyes of those who have witnessed unspeakable loss. You see it in the quiet of a carrion-picked field, when even the bones have nothing left to give, and dust itself dissolves. We are the first guard against this evil. And one day, whether your fathers believe it or not, you will face it, my prime. Pray, you are the wall upon which it breaks. And the waning night steps back into the shadows and disappears.
So, my whole point being about all of this is that it's not exactly a simple thing to do. But if you have somebody who's a strong enough magic user, there's 7 different sites on the continent you can use to conduct a ritual to basically link each other up. So you'd need 5 or 6 people probably to commit themselves to it, but it's not a simple thing. I can walk you through it, but I'm not a strong enough caster myself to actually do it. I'm a researcher first.
Well, we got someone who knows magic real well.
Which one's that?
Burgess
Fauna.
is slowly going to point over to Fauna.
At least has already broken some pretty strong curses before. Sorry, my dog is coughing his lungs out in the background. I'm gonna mute.
It was kind of on accident at first, but I think.
Oh, good. This is a good start.
I think I could try. And anyway, you don't want to just sit here in this worm, right? Come with us.
I already know how to get out of the worm. I'm just here out of curiosity.
Oh, well, could you tell us how to get out? Because we don't actually know.
Could you also just maybe write down the instructions for this giant spell that we need? And you said you knew 2 magic users that are possible. Who?
Well, I mean, one of them's a wizard that's locked himself away for a generation, and the other one wants to kill everyone.
Wizard? What? Kill everyone?
I didn't say. What?
What are their names?
Elijah, which names would he know?
You would know, I don't know if you would know. Give me a history check real quick.
14.
Okay. On a 14... On a 14, you would know... was a wizard of some note. You would know Amendatari's name.
Yeah, that's the one who's locked himself away.
Yep. That is the one that we know and we already made a deal with, correct?
Yep. Or rather, he was like, come back in 3 years and a day because I'm going to need your help. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, neither one of them are going to help you. Because it costs them too much.
But you're going to help us, right?
Here's the tricky part. The easiest way to do it is if you have some kind of soul connection between you and the subject. So the other 2 are strong enough, they wouldn't do it because it would cost them too much. It'll cost you less from a magic point of view, but it increases the risk. That's the part of it that matters. So there's a site we could go to. I could walk you through it, but I would need to be
Where
there.
is it? I mean, we're on our way down to other side of the Unbroken Green to Phoenix Manor.
Right, so in the Southlands, St. Florian has the nearest one I know of.
St. Florian.
Another one in the north.
Okay, so Are you sure?
Right.
Are
The
you
other
sure? Are
one's,
you sure it's not in Phoenix, man?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's like tunnels that connect it and all that.
Right.
The other one is
okay.
at Atari up in the north. That I know of. I've never been to that one myself. There's one in the dry sea. There's one in the Nightlands. There's at least one that's under the ocean right now. The other one I don't know.
I mean,
Pretty sure that was 7, but if it wasn't, then just make up another location.
What y'all shouldn't we just take? We should just take Yorge with. Hey, Perrin, we should just take Yorge with us, right?
I don't like this guy at all. I don't like how he talks. I don't like being around him. I'm just gonna keep lurking over here in the corner.
We're not supposed to be rude.
I'm uncomfortable.
He's gonna help us. Well, listen.
Yeah, see, here's the other big part of this is part of the way the magic works. These rituals, I mean, Erebus may have been the one who built these things. I'm not sure. They work based on soul magic, right? So it's soulmation. So you have to kind of merge souls. It's a little iffy that way, and that's actually part of why I think it's a bad idea, is that you'll have to trust each other really well, but you're going to have to trust me too. And I don't think you do, and I don't think I trust you either, because you're all kind of wiggly around the edges. So, like I said, I'm not sure it's a great choice.
What if you already have a soul that's split? That would make room
makes it
for...
harder, mostly, because you have less to work with. It's a good thought, though.
But you have more room to take.
Well, yeah, if you want to take the souls into yourself, and then you're in the same fucking problem, and then you don't have anybody to help you out.
But
The
what
frog's
if you
really good at magic also.
What if you could take one out, but then put it in something else?
What do you mean?
What do you
What
want
if we
to
get
put it in?
another frog?
Another
So
frog?
Here's the thing. The soul wants to go where it belongs, right? So it has its starting place, which is its own body. If it loses that body because it dies, it still kind of wants to go there whenever possible. That's why you hear stories about hauntings and the like. That's also where the whole situation with vampires come from. It's basically a magical infection, right? But if you think about it like this, like the soul wants to be where it is, so you have to give it something as best as. So like Sam, the simulacron you were talking about, Vladimir and Sam and I, we talked about this. Vladimir did the magic, but I helped design it. But Sam was willing, like he wanted to put his soul inside the body. So like that was easy. If these two souls are already together, they want to be. We're gonna have to fight against it, and that's gonna be hard enough as it is, you see. So like, why would one of those souls want to go into your body?
What
We're fighting
happens?
against. It's like two big magnets. You know about magnets? I don't know if any of you have ever heard of magnets, but they're like rocks that stick to each other. Have you guys heard about those? I don't know. It's hard to keep track about what other people know about. You guys mostly do pointy things, right? Stab each other.
I think I track what you're saying, but what happens if we attempt this separation process?
Right. Well, the
And it
complicated
doesn't
part
work.
of this that well, mostly Diane, but the part of this that I think is good is I think I know a way to do this where it would. Now, I'm not positive it's going to work perfectly, but I think we can reconstitute a body.
You mean make one of them simulacrum things?
Better one, yeah. The one I did for Sam was kind of cheap and quick, you know, but if we get enough magic into it and there's enough connection between it, maybe a better one than that.
Well, shoot. I mean, we should all go find Atticus, right? Because this is great news. We'd
Seems like he might want to be a part of this conversation since
Yeah,
it's
we
his
get
son
Any
inside of
decision
you,
we
Frodo.
make.
we can get 2 birds with 1 stone because we're already headed to the south anyway to solve. He got this whole thing with the giant bird. It's crazy.
Hey, Bart.
Wait, that's the bird that you're getting with 1 stone? What do you mean?
Oh yeah, I mean, if we can get that bird with 1 stone, I think it's going to take a whole sack of stones to get that bird.
Like you said, wiggly around the edges. We got a lot going on.
You're just kind of glaring
Everybody
at
has their
Cletus
own things,
out of the
right?
corner of his eye. Right, okay.
You don't want the whole life history. You'll be
I'm
here
more
a while.
curious and I want to know less, and I wish I'd never spoken to you, but also I want to know everything.
So you're gonna come with us so you can just like study us and keep notes, right? And help us with this thing.
There's a lot to know.
Right, so the problem, I have all of my stuff with me right now, so I could go fetch my things and meet you down at the manor. I mean, like a week, probably.
Yeah, but also, how do we get out of here?
Oh, after the worm. Yeah, you pretty much just want to ask it. You just walk out the mouth. It opens like every 2 days.
Good to know.
How do we get to the mouth from here?
I mean,
It's a
probably out the
worm.
way we came.
Donna.
Straight line.
The way we came.
I think maybe we should just ask one of these.
And you see Bert is going to go up to one of the other humanoids that are in this space and walks up to him. And you see Bert is like,
Hey, excuse me. My dad, my friend, tall guy, one of you took him to something called the Heart earlier. Do you think you could take us there?
you see it looks down at him and then looks at all of you and nods.
Seems like we're all heading in the same place. Come with us, at least for a little bit. Then you can explain everything you just said to his dad.
Curious enough for now.
Dad,
He packs up his stuff and he's like walking next to Perrin and he's like, "So how many times have you died now? Your soul's busted to shit. It's all right kicking the arse."
Yeah, Parrot, how many times have you died?
I don't like talking about it.
Oh, okay. Well,
Probably like 70.
Oh,
news to.
I did expect it. I expected it to be in the single digits, so that's something of a shocker to me.
I mean, that's as most people ever get is single digits, so that makes sense to assume.
Yeah, single digit. Okay, well,
Yeah.
Parent, I think I'm just gonna lay it out there. I like Yorge. I like this guy. And I know you're not too keen on him, but I think it'd be super helpful if we came with us. And honestly, I bet he just kind of minds his own business. And anytime we get to a place, he's just going to kind of go off and do his own research. And so I think he should just come. I think he should come with us. What do you think, Yorge?
No, yeah, I'm pretty passive when you don't ask me direct questions. Kind of disappear into the background.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt
Almost
too.
forget that I'm here.
Parents, I feel like
Right,
you'll be able.
Cletus?
I think you'll
Like
be able
Mr.
to.
Bits.
Elijah able to flip the tables on Tyler right now and make Tyler.
I mean, like, look, I'll do
roleplay
whatever you
with
tell me to
himself
do.
again.
Like, I'll be around if you want, but I'll.
Oh
dip
no,
off
I'm not
if
going to
need
make
me
you
to.
do anything. Yeah, listen, you do.
Whichever way.
I like you. You don't act, but I tell you what, not a better way to get to know someone than being on the road with them.
Right.
And if that's what we need is
I guess
trust,
that-
well then.
Let's give everybody a lot more time to ask questions and for me to get answers from you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, good. I'm
revenge.
glad we're all decided. Let's get. Wait. Hey, tall fella, we're ready to head to the Heart now.
You see the humanoid looks at all of you, nods, and begins to leave for the Heart, going further into the colossus. Atticus.
Meanwhile,
Takes about 20 minutes or so. You walk down several corridors, similar almost to the kind of like park area, like these large cavernous pink corridors that open back up into the wider space with that misty sky above. It almost obscures the roof of this place. Until you come to a spot where it is all open here, but there is a series of steps that lead up to an enormous pedestal where you can see a lot of that, like strands now of that pink fungi come together in a cluster here, and it almost looks like a giant nerve center almost gathered here up on this pedestal. And your guide looks to you. We have arrived at the Heart.
Oh, wow. Is there a certain way y'all communicate with Asanoff? Is there a ritual? Is there?
We find that it hears our intent. The more of our collective that is gathered here, the stronger the intent will be. Perhaps if you made physical contact, you would be able to communicate with it better.
Atticus is gonna like point at like where should I make contact?
You see your guide reaches out a long white limb, 3 reaching fingers, and as they reach out towards it, you see unfurling a tendril almost from the heart that reaches out and just touches the points of your guide's fingers.
Yeah, Atticus kneels down, almost kind of like in a prayer stance, and kind of like puts his hands out, and like just kind of like waits and builds the intention to his intention to communicate with this creature.
I'm going to make this. What's your charisma modifier?
+2.
Perfect. That's what I was hoping for. I'm going to have you make a D100 roll, but you get to do it twice and take the higher of the 2.
Okay. Alrighty. First one was 90. Second one was 9.
90 is very good. Atticus, you reach out. The heart extends tendrils to meet you. Immediately, you get not images, but just feelings. Feelings of deep, deep rest. There is a calm and a peace that exists in the consciousness of this Titan. I mean, it spends thousands of years sleeping far beneath the earth. And right now you feel it is returning to that peace. It's getting ready to go back down and be again. The threat, that Fey incursion, whatever fauna was creating in this place, has been nullified for now. And it is preparing itself to rest again. On a 90, what do you want to communicate to it?
Yeah. Atticus being hit with these images kind of like reciprocates the like feeling of like dread that they're feeling, and their want to protect, and is basically conveying like, as is happening, Atticus just kind of says, like, you are a creature that kids dream about, both in awe and in fear, but I feel the peace within you, and I know you have roamed these lands for years and years. And Atticus basically is asking for guidance and any knowledge they may have on Akron, things they know, things they've seen, and is conveying, through emotion, their desire to protect these lands for everybody, and at this point is convinced to protect the entire world as they know it from this ancient evil.
As you communicate this, Atticus, you're almost in answer to, like, immediately as you're having these thoughts and this intention is going forward, you're getting responses that just appear as visions. You see a peaceful, calm south green. You see the unbroken green, untouched, as it has stood for, according to legend, millennia. As you see a spot, ruins of an ancient city down further to the south green, that you recognize the surrounding space. This is what is now St. Florian. But once before, St. Florian was built on the ruins of an even older city deep in the south green. As you're looking at these ruins, you see a darkness come to this place. And in almost time lapse, you see the withering that takes place in the south green in this location, and then begins to spread out. The darkness that chokes it, until you see a light driven into the center of it that all but extinguishes every bit of this darkness. And you feel, when this happens, just this sense of, like, even relief in the colossus, remembering this happening. Because what you also get is that they were unable to do anything, whether it is that they literally can't or they simply won't. Like, it might be a physical impossibility, or it might just be that this thing is too sacred to them to ever, but they're one and the same. It doesn't matter. They refused to cross the ground of the unbroken green. This Titan is here in Solasa, and this is its space, its domain to protect. And you felt like the bristle of it, like as it prepared itself when the darkness began to grow closer, thinking that it might have to, it could do something about that. It could protect this place. But that light comes, nearly extinguishing the darkness. But you see the smallest bit. A dark catacomb far beneath the city. And you see a pile of ash. And in that pile of ash, just the small corner of a singed black wing extending from it and fluttering just slightly as the ash in the heap starts to move. And you see the image flashes, and the Yasinoth shows you what it fears. You see all of Namira enveloped in flame. Even Solasa, there's little, if this entity, if this thing, if Akron comes into full power, even this massive colossus, this ancient defender, can do nothing to stop it. And it can't leave this place. So as you communicate your intent to stop it, you get almost a feeling of hope from this creature, and gratitude, and almost kinship, that it recognizes in you another protector.
in that moment of like kinship, Atticus imagines in his mind the unbroken green, the surrounding areas, with the Forgotten being able to flourish in that area once again, free of any malice from any other creature or species.
The Yasinoth you see doesn't, it's almost the feeling equivalent of like looking at someone else for their response, because the Yasinoth doesn't have a strong response to this. There's not an emotion tied to it. But as you say this thing, you realize that the Forgotten, that your guide, is looking at you. Atticus of the House of Phoenix, you would offer to
Atticus.
us this gift.
Everyone deserves their space on the surface, regardless of where you come from or who you are.
What you offer is a kindness beyond anything we have ever experienced. What can we do for you?
Atticus kind of pauses because he didn't say that with anything in expectation in return. Atticus says to what you can do for me in return is show the kindness to all that I showed to you.
The Forgotten nods. You feel now the Yasinoth again, almost like a question, Atticus. Where? Where do you want it to take you? It can't leave Solasa. It can go right up to the edge of the unbroken green. But where would you have it take you?
Atticus pictures Phoenix Manor in the distance.
Phoenix Manor, I mean, it can take you, so the way that it could take you to like the edge of Solasa on the unbroken green, then you'd still have to walk across the unbroken green.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing.
Okay, cool.
The edge of Colossus, with Phoenix Manor, like knowing that Phoenix Manor is in the distance.
Cool. You feel affirmation from the Yasinoth, and just faintly you feel beneath you a shift in direction.
Atticus raises one more question, and it's in the form of, who do you answer to? Or more so, you as a protector, who do you answer to, and who do the protectors of this world answer to?
You get an image, Atticus, of beings that images don't do justice to. These gods, for that is what they are, their power, their will, their foresight, it's hard to even, like, this colossus, this creature, the Yasanoth, can give you kind of an approximation of it. So it is still coming through like a translator or a funnel, but even this bit that you're getting is so much, it's too much. The Yasanoth recognizes that and then condenses it down again. And so instead of seeing these gods, you see what they put in place to protect. You see the Colossi of old, and you know that the Yasanoth is the last of its kind. There are no more Colossi living. But what you also see, you get images of the courts. Court of Flame, Court of Night. An image not of the Court of Mist, but of the Court of Hope, the Court of Tides, and the Court of Flowers. And you see these powers and this magic given over to mortals to use it to protect and to give good gifts. And then you see it diluted, dispersed, spread out over time and space. And then you feel just the smallest bit in yourself this flame that burns. And you feel your inheritance of the Court of Flame. And you know that you inherit your will and your destiny from the same place that this thing does.
Atticus, like, feeling all this and processing as much as he can of it, just kind of like puts his hand on the ground or like inside this thing just for like a connection of like, you know, expressing like we are one and the same, like, and kind of coming to that realization.
Yeah. I think as you're doing this, you know, you've been here a little while. The group arrives at the heart. You see Atticus there communing with this thing. It is headed for the edge of the unbroken green to drop you all off. Unless there's anything, is there anything else that anyone wants to do in this space before your ancient Uber drops you off at your location?
I don't think so.
Karen probably wants to loot something.
Oh my god, did you guys see all the stuff back here in these baskets? Like sponges, but crispy.
Atticus, before dropping off, is gonna commune to the Forgotten guide one more time and just say, I also want you to know this. Some things like equality and peace among men are worth fighting for. And if there's something in the way or something that is stopping that, sometimes it's worth joining a united cause to unite us all.
We will remember what you have said. Perhaps it is a wisdom that we have overlooked.
Atticus is gonna nod and look at the group and
Hey, Atticus, this is Yorge. He's gonna come with us. He's real smart and he knows how to fix everything. All we got to do is get to Phoenix Manor, and he's gonna do like a crazy. There's like a ritual thing, and we can lickety split. You know,
It's
you get
also
me
more
and-
likely than
So
not to
much
go
information.
terribly, terribly wrong. But like, let's not
Yeah,
get too
yeah,
stuck
but
on that
yeah,
right at the moment.
yeah, no, I mean, hey,
I guess I have I mean I learned a lot as well through Asinoff.
Oh yeah, he's a swell guy. Love worms. Big, long, do all their sort of eating the ground kind of thing. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, they're gonna let us out pretty close to Phoenix Manor. I guess maybe we should all chat about everything. I think we have a little bit of time to kill before we're, climb out of this Asinoff's mouth.
Oh, we should go back to where I marked with the chalk. That's how we know how to get out. Planned ahead.
Oh, I mean, Asinoff is
Just
going to let us out
that way.
Oh, I mean, we still have to go through the mouth.
Yeah.
Wait, does he open over here too? How many assholes does he
It's
have?
just that way.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
Atticus
believe
is
you
gonna-
are referring to sphincters. There are many.
Oh my god.
All right, Bert. There's the answer to your question. Turns
Yep.
out you're right on the mark.
man,
Mm,
boy, oh boy.
You're really
learning a
figured
lot of
it out.
things. Didn't really
I'll-
want
I'll
to.
learn something new too. Yeah, and I guess Atticus is gonna let them guide the way out, or wherever we need to.
Cool.
The exit is.
I mean, yeah, you're in this space. Atticus, if you want to have the conversation here on the way, you can, or you can have it after you exit. But
Yeah.
I will tell you, on its arrival to the space, what happens is that you feel it almost kind of like rising up, surfacing, and then you see one of the sections of the wall, truly matte, but like a sphincter, like in the pink fungi, just like opens, and you see a side of it opens, almost like maybe a gill or something is opening, like, but some sort of section in the side of this thing is opening. And for the first time in a long time, Atticus, you are looking out on the unbroken green. And you know that just a couple days on the other side of it, Phoenix Manor.
Atticus kind of looks out, and I'm assuming we're outside of Asinoff at this point. He's gonna look at the group and say, "I think it's time. I'm sure I'd heard you learned a lot from our new friend here, but I know I learned a lot about myself, and I learned, more importantly, where we need to go to find the you all saw it, the ugly fucking bird.
And hopefully
And just-
save your son in the process. And Bert.
Just to be clear, I'm not too interested with fighting a giant bird, but like if you all take care of that, then I'll take care of your frog problem, I think. Not to say that you're a
Yeah.
problem,
He's
Bertie,
not a
but
problem.
you have but he's got a problem.
Oh yeah, I know. I got a pretty serious problem. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
for sure gonna die, but we'll do our best.
Oh boy.
Basically, to surmise my life and why this is important to me, what I can put together is, look, like, I think you all know enough about the Phoenixes, and you know enough about me that I've been resurrected quite a few times. We saw Cletus resurrect. For a long time, that was known as a blessing for the Phoenix family. That's why I'm still alive. I've lived countless lives. I've died countless times. But
Yorge takes his tool out and he's making notes and like looking at Atticus and Cletus while he's talking about this.
that is something that is known now to be a curse. What I could surmise from that is my father made a deal. I'm blanking on the Phoenix's name right now, so if anyone
Akron.
they might know
Yep.
The most I could surmise from it is my father made a deal with Okran, which is that bird entity. It is ancient. It is powerful. There are tales about a darkness within the South Green that was driven out. But from the visions that I received, it wasn't fully wiped out. This being has haunted me my entire life. It wants nothing more than to destroy and shroud not just the South Green, but Nymeria and the world itself in its darkness. While he's doing that, Atticus brings out the book Perrin gave him and puts out the mask that he gave him to, and then the feather that he received to
Can I get a closer
everybody.
look at all those, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take a look at them.
Cool.
Whether this creature is natural born of this world or is some sort of outer being, I'm not aware of, but what they want is the end of it all. They want this world for themselves, and it's my family's fault that this creature even exists in this world today. This isn't an easy task. This creature needs to be destroyed, and I'm not sure how it can't be destroyed.
Atticus, we just talked to a giant worm. I'm pretty sure we could take on a bird.
I mean, yeah. Asinov is luckily not an evil creature, but this thing is powerful, deity level powerful. I've lived 1,001 years because of it. Because of whatever dark bargain my father made. And whatever it's done to Cletus, however it seduced Cletus via however it did it. Because Cletus doesn't know how. This will bring ruin to everything. And it's my responsibility to end it. And to be honest with all of you, if it goes, I think I go as well. We are binded. I can't imagine whatever magic has kept me alive and youthful is going to be around if we succeed in it. But I have to do it. It has to be done. Questions? Anyone?
What if we could break the link between you before the fight? Then you wouldn't be connected when it dies, and maybe it would drain off some of its power.
I mean, I think that's a good idea, but I think also I'm a human. I'm not like an elf or any of the other species that live very long natural lives. I think once the magic is, or whatever connection is broken, I will go too. That is my belief.
What if we put you in with Bert?
What if we just make all our problems worse? What would that do?
As much as I would love to spend time with my son more than spurt more. I think.
Maybe not. I think it'd get a little
strengths I
cramped.
needed on the field.
I think it'd get a little cramped.
That's just a joke.
Cletus is going to step forward, Atticus, and in something that he's never done in your, like, he's always treated, like, because you've always treated him this way too, as an equal, as an accomplice, and a friend in battle. Cletus steps forward, and the same way that he did with you, Fauna, Cletus gets down on one knee, and I can't remember. Did Cletus get his short swords back? I can't remember if Atticus has still got him.
Yeah.
He takes them out, and he places them on the ground in front of you. You know, Atticus, in Alfgar tradition, my people, we have a name for those of us that were brave enough to fight against the dark spirits that dwelt in the South Green. We called him Atka Ose, or the Endless Flame. The way I hear it from my grandfather, and he heard it from his. Your mother and father, that's why they named you Atticus. So I think whatever this Auckland thing is, I don't think it stands a chance. You were born to this. And I'm going to be right there to see it through with you, if you'll have me.
Till the end of the road, friend. And Atticus looks at Cletus and goes, I mean, you're already a Knight of the Phoenix, and Atticus is going to look around the group, be like, and just kind of smirk and be like, you know, the Knights did it once. I have a feeling I have a lot of knighting to do. He's going to look at everybody.
He doesn't stand alone. Neither do you. Thank you for telling us.
Yeah.
You know, a truth like that is hard to share. Cletus had one thing right. You were born with it. It wasn't your choice. It wasn't your decision. It wasn't your pact. It was made. It's one made by your father. And
I appreciate that. You know, they say the sins of the father don't pass down to the son, but if my father isn't going to answer for this, then I sure am.
answer to it or end it. Hopefully not end you, but I mean, we've conquered so much together.
We have. So what I suggest to everyone, stop at Phoenix Manor, and I, as the last Phoenix, or until, so I thought till over the past couple months, but the one Phoenix with their head on right, you know, makes the last squad of the Night of the Phoenix with all of you, if you would kneel to the sword and join the ranks.
I've spent so long fighting to destroy things for others. I think I'd rather like to protect something for once. And
I'm mostly here for scholastic curiosity. I'm not saying here so much for the night.
We have a wonderful library.
Yeah, I'll just mostly be watching if that's okay.
Yeah,
I don't
but you
think
have a
anyone
place within the library. The Library of Atlas at Phoenix Manor. Lots of books, ancient books. Someone like you, head would be spinning around like a wheel on a cartwheel, you know?
What now?
What? Hold on, a wheel on a
Saying you've got spinning rims on your cartwheels with additional
a
spinners.
cartwheel.
Oh,
Yeah, we call them
people
rims.
deck out their wagons. Their wagons.
Southlands
in
have
the
changed
south.
since I was here last.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to be careful when you're at. Bert starts talking out of his ass about things that he doesn't know anything about. As you all start to take your first steps across the unbroken green towards Phoenix Manor, Atticus.
Let's go kill a fucking bird.
Yeah, let's go kill a bird. Atticus, you're kind of like, you're standing there like your foot hasn't quite made that first step onto the unbroken green yet. And Cletus kind of comes up next to you and puts a hand on your shoulder. Well, do you want me to say the words?
It would make me a happy man right now in times of peril.
From the green we are born, and to the green we return. May it be ever unbroken.
And Cletus steps out onto the unbroken green. And that is where we're going to end the session. We will be back next week with another session of Castle Run. Thanks to everyone who tuned in, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.